My name is Ann Bell, and I own the John Stoddard home in Wellsville, Utah. John Stoddard was the first person to live in this house because he built it, and he built it around 1880. The house came in on the railroad from Baker, Oregon. It was a pre-cut house because the big lumber yard was in Baker City, and the planing mill where they would refine the lumber was in Baker City. And so they brought the lumber by train from Baker City, Oregon to Mendon. And then it was unloaded and built here on this site around 1880. John Stoddard married a woman named Emma Eckersley here in Wellsville. He met her in 1864, and they had a son, George, in 1865, and in 1867 they had a daughter, Ellen. And so there's a very good chance that Ellen lived in this house with Emma Eckersley and John Stoddard. And John was gone a lot because it was their custom to take the men from Utah up into the timberland in the summer. And then, of course, when it started to snow, they would return home. But it was one of the ways that the people in the area got cash money, because even if they were land rich, they could be cash poor. And so one of the best places to go and work in those days and get money was Oregon. We got the house in 1976, and in the beginning there was not much here. We put in a lot of the trees and nurtured the land. We put in a little orchard, and we've loved living here, and the best thing about it is the good earth. The second owner of this house was Joseph Howell, and he became the owner of this house in 1886. He was a very capable man and beloved of the people. He became mayor of Wellsville, and he was the manager of the ZCMIs that were here in Wellsville. He knew how to take commodities, things like eggs and hay and bacon, and turn it into money for people. And so he did very well as the manager of the ZCMIs. And then he was elected by the state of Utah to represent Utah in as the first representative to Congress. And his family went with him to Washington, D.C. They kept the house. They would go back and forth, and they really loved going to Washington and living the life and having the opera and the orchestra and the symphony and all those very fine cultural things that were available to them in Washington, D.C. After Joseph Howell, William Murray owned the house, and he also had a large family. And then he sold the house to Daniel Lloyd. And Daniel Lloyd's son, Lewis, became a state senator and represented this area, this county, in the state of Utah Senate. And after the Lloyds owned the house, they sold the house to Guy Mon. Now, Guy Mon is the one that everyone thinks that this should be called the Guy Mon house. And it's because Guy Mon lived here for a long time. He had a lot of children, and some of them are still alive. In fact, his son Clark inherited the house from him, but he sold it on to somebody else. And we were very lucky that we were able to come upon this house because it has afforded us a nice life here. We love the property, and we love the history of the house.